Welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue unpacking me-related character. And today is me itself. In fact, this is a fully spelled out me, which simply means cover. Okay, you can see it's pronounced the same. It's a traditional version or a fully spelled out version with more content in it. And what are the contents? Besides this big arch thing, as I said before, this could mean net or cage. It's covering or limiting somebody's space or freedom of movement, right? That you're limited to a space. Now you see the traditional got extra elements on top of it that came from, I guess this is the closest I can find to illustrate what's in there actually. So this is the mo symbol that Chinese eventually simplified from this character. I guess ignore this moon. We just have the sun in the middle of four of those grass or plant symbols. Two at the bottom, two on the top. And when it got simplified, this simplified to the 草字头, just horizontal line with two vertical lines. It's a simplification. And you can see it can be transformed from this, right? Simply flattening down this arch, this upward pointing leafy part of the plant. And then the sun sunk into the middle of the grass. That means the sun's angle is pretty low. It's horizon level. It's sun setting moment. That's mu. And at the bottom, this part, it was not expressed here, but this bottom means a fabric. So we use fabric to give you the direct tactile sense of covering things. We use the fabric to cover things. And that together with this big arch as a net or cage, covering or limiting factor, all three of them, the sun setting, like the sun is going to be covered by the grass. I'm not sure if ancient Chinese actually understand the sun rotate around the earth. Well, no, wrong, actually. Rotational is the earth rotate around the sun, right? But from the Earthling's first-person perspective, the sun rotate around the earth, right? So I'm not sure if ancient people actually know that. Probably when they see the sun setting to the grass level, like going to be below horizon, that's somewhat can be understood as the sun, the energy source, the light, is going down into the earth. And it's going to be covered by grass and more grass until it disappeared, right? It would not be like today with our knowledge and the recent moonshot that we are able to look at the earth back from space. It's really difficult for earthlings to figure out how the whole thing lay out, right? Back then. So my argument is this cage or net, me, as well as the sun setting covered by the grass, as well as the fabric normally used to cover things. All three are pointing toward the same action, which is cover, me. When it comes to our everyday use of the language, it's not that of kind of a casual everyday language, because this cover, we probably have another character like a guy. We have a gaito, which is, the custom tradition of Chinese before the groom see the bride on their like wedding day. The bride will be covered under a piece of red colored cloth. And that's a gaito. We use another word. So me as a cover wasn't really used much in our everyday language. These three expressions except the last one, which has a not exactly direct sense of a covering, was used in a math class. The other two were from dictionaries of what this would have been used in the past. 密手 手 is the head. 密手 covered head. So I guess that's a very succinct way of Chinese of normally females cover their face when they were in public. So this 密手, I've been trying very hard to find you, I guess, a drama, a period drama that talked about, describing lifestyles of humans. I mean, Chinese back hundreds of years ago, they have different costumes, and some of them, the women, especially women of like warrior kind of women, assassin type of women, kind of ancient Chinese Wonder Woman version, that they have their special skill sets and they don't want to be seen as a woman that much, so they cover their face. I tried very hard to find that, couldn't. But that's exactly what this is talking about. 密手, so your face got covered up. 密窗用纸, talking about cover the window with using paper. So this, I was very excited to find out because when I grew up, I didn't get to see paper-covered window. By the time I was born into China, things were already semi-industrialized, and we already have glass window panes. So paper-covered windows was a bygone era thing. So I'm glad to find this expression from a classical literature that indeed in the past, before glass was invented or imported past to China, that we use paper to cover. All right, 幂次方. So mathematical term, this means exponential or the power, to the power of. That's the like x to the power of n. And this 幂would be this n. Means this number, this variable x, are going to time itself by n times, right? So x times x, the number of n times. That's 幂次方. That's a Chinese way to say this something time itself. Why it's 幂? Okay. At first I thought, okay, this math concept are probably from the West and somebody translated. Like I couldn't figure out why it's covered. Turned out this 幂as a concept of a number time itself was invented 300 AD. So it's about almost 1700 years ago. And that was the expression of cover simply is the observation of a piece of fabric, especially it's a square fabric. The area of the square would be the two sides, right? And when the two sides are equal length, that will be the power by itself, right? So it's like you have to cover it, give you the sense of a dimensional change from one-dimensional, two-dimensional, and then if it's the same number, you time the same thing again. Okay, long-winded. Good to see that universally different culture are developing their math understanding and vocabulary independently. And I simply didn't know that 幂existed since 300 AD. So here to show cover, how paper cover a window. And you get, actually I have to say, you get the light coming through. It's not direct sunlight through. You also got a privacy, right? Well, talking about privacy, in those period dramas describing behavior from the past hundreds of years ago, oftentimes when people you try to spy on whoever you want to would lick their finger, touch this paper and make a tiny bit of a hole at a very unnoticeable place in a corner of this whole window pane so that you can peek through that tiny paper hole through into the room to see what's going on. And so I would argue this privacy is limited given there are no people, no peeping Tom trying to poking a little hole through the paper. In that setting, paper was really limiting. No wonder it phased out. But I believe in Japan, you can still see some traditional house using paper as their window pane. Me. Thank you for your time. See you another day.